started while everyone's getting set up. So some of you have been here for another class this week, but if you haven't, our theme is called the spirit of the lungs this week. So this training I'm teaching, I'm focusing a lot on aspects of Chinese medicine related to yoga. And it is said that each of our major organs has its own spirit. And the spirit of the lungs is called the Po, P''O. And basically, Po means the corporeal soul. So it's a part of our soul that is attached to the body. And it relates to things like, are we feeling, are we experiencing our lives? It relates to kind of our animal instinct nature, like our reactivity. So for example, if you've ever seen an animal that's been injured or hurt, right? It's very protective, very like sensitive, doesn't really trust very easily. So there's aspects of ourselves that are like that, right? So our animal nature has cellular memory of all the things that have happened to us. And that's part of our Po, according to Chinese medicine. And we can strengthen the Po by really inhabiting, being in our body, being embodied, all the things we talk about in yoga, right? Paying attention to what's going on in the body versus that, disconnect that we often have, like dissociation, distracting ourselves from what we're feeling. And it's particularly associated with the emotions of sadness and grief because those are the emotions associated with autumn. So if we think about our annual cycle, right, we have winter, which is kind of like an incubation period, like a seed that's storing up energy to be able to grow in the spring. So spring is the growth and the wood element. And then we have summer, which is what's called the peak yang energy. So when everything's coming to fruition, whether it's in nature, right? Things in nature coming to fruition, or things that we plan, things that are goals that we've set. And then as we get into autumn, things are kind of winding down. We're getting to the end of our year. So it's this kind of aspect of letting go, right? This aspect of releasing the year, taking stock in what happened over the year, processing it, letting it go. So there's this association with sadness and grief in the autumn time. So that emotion is very much tied to the spirit of the lungs. So if we repress our sadness and our grief, we don't feel it, it is said to weaken our Po. So we're going to work a lot in arms, shoulders today. Couple of weeks, we're spending some time working on these themes of autumn. So the acupressure lines in the body that relate to the lungs go from here, right around the armpit chest area, out through the arm and out through the pinky finger is the lung. And then the heart also goes the opposite way, goes up to the heart. And they kind of work together, right, to create pulsation in the body, the breathing, the heartbeat, all of that. So we're going to work on those lines of energy in the body. So we're going to start on your belly, and you're going to put your arms like this and rest your forehead. We did this last week, the crocodile pose. And we'll keep focusing as we did last week on the smooth, even, soft, subtle breath. In Chinese medicine, the lungs are considered the tender organ. And so they're very delicate and said to be susceptible to outside influences, right? So if our lung qi is weak, we're going to be more likely to come down with those coughs and colds and things like that. So we strengthen our lung qi by working on our breathing. So if we're coming to yoga on a regular basis, we're probably going to have stronger lung qi. But also, all the feels. Are we feeling what we need to feel, processing those emotions? So take some time and breathe into your lower back ribs. I want you to imagine the lungs almost like a terrarium, where at the top of the terrarium, there's like the air, And then we get to the middle, there's the plants and the organic material goes down then into the earth, into the ground. And then all the way at the bottom of that terrarium are the roots. And so if your lungs are like that terrarium, the top is more air, but I want you to think about breathing down into the roots of your lungs. So these like finer little tendrils of airways we call the bronchioles. Breathe down into the bronchioles. And in this way, we start to nourish the lungs, the lung tissue, and we connect to our animal body, this physical part of ourselves. So the Po is the physical part of the soul that stays with the body. And in Chinese medicine, there's a second part of the soul called the ethereal soul. That's the Hun. That's the spirit of our liver. And that's said to be more of the infinite part of the soul. So we're primarily concerned with this finite part when we're focusing in our physical body. Now I'm going to ask you to grab a block and turn that block in front of you up on its middle level. And you may or may not need to turn it higher, but let's start there. And then we're going to take our arms, put our right arm in front and our left arm in back. And you're going to spread your webbing of your fingers out nice and wide. And then see if you might drop your head onto the block. Now, if the block's not high enough, you might turn it up another level. You might stack 2 blocks. So see what works for you. And if possible, cross your arms all the way at the elbows. And this helps open up the back lung area, the back of the shoulders. We're going to stay in this position for a bit longer. And then sending breath into your upper back, in between your shoulder blades. And just let your front body kind of sink into the earth. Take those slow, smooth, even breaths. And we're going to stay here for about a minute, then we're going to switch the arms. So I'm going to read a little bit. This is from a book called The Web That Has No Weaver, Understanding Chinese Medicine. So it says that the Po is the portion of a person's spirit that is absolutely dependent on the person's physical life. When breathing ceases, the Po disintegrates. The Po is about momentary reactions. Unlike the other spirits, it is utterly tied to time and space. The Po is the reactivity or animation of a person, hence the alternative translation, the animal soul. So in other words, without the Po, we're like a bag of bones, right? There's no animation. In the medical tradition, the animal soul is often said to be equivalent to the 7 emotions. The Po is the unthinking and compelling passion that propels life. So it's not about our ego mind. That often gets in the way of the animal spirit, right? So we can, if you think about an animal, it doesn't do things that don't feel good, right? You never see your cat or your dog like forcing themselves into a position, right? That's ego mind. That's a human trait, right? So can we respect the animal body by going out of the thinking mind and more into what we're feeling? So go ahead, switch the arms, put the opposite arm in the front. And this is just going to be our little warm up here for the upper back. So the animal soul is a way of acknowledging that part of the non-material aspect of a person, about plain old knee-jerk reactions that are utterly linked to transitory feelings. An intact Po has short-term power and assertiveness, and a weakened Po is lifeless and lethargic. The Po's activity is reactive and momentary. So when the Po is disrupted, the person has difficulty appreciating the completion of something that has passed away, that ceased to exist. And then grief lingers and is never resolved. Then the person always feels lost or incompletion. The po is the fluid aspect of the spirit and relates to our ability to let go. Just a couple more breaths now in this second position. All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and come off of the block, undo your arms, come back down in your crocodile position for a moment. Just feel the after effects of that little practice. And then we're gonna press it back to child's pose when you're ready. So take your hips towards your heels and let the animal body rest on the ground. Okay, come on up in this tabletop position, spread out through the palms, open that webbing of the fingers. A lot of acupressure points in the palms, especially the thumbs, and then our cat-cow. So we'll inhale, arch the back, exhale, round the spine. And go ahead and do 5 cycles. Once again, return to child's pose. Take it slowly, right? So if we want to strengthen the po, we have to be able to be present. Po brings us into presence by noticing the body, noticing what we're feeling, inhabiting the body. So if we check out and think about, our to-do list, our lunchtime, whatever it is, we're not in the present moment. And that weakens our connection to the animal body. So stay present. Even as you come into stillness, eventually in your child's pose, stay present. Okay, coming back up in the tabletop, we're going to grab our 2 blocks, put them short end to short end, and then take your blanket and pull it over top so you have a little cushioning. And we're going to move into puppy pose for our animal's body, right? We see dogs and cats and things, the animals, they just kind of do these stretches naturally. So puppy pose. We're going to put our elbows up onto block, bring the palms together, spread the webbing of your palms. Widen the elbows enough that you can put your forehead down on the blocks. And then bring your palms behind the back of your head, walk your knees back a little bit. Toes can be tucked or untucked. And then let your chest kind of sink down toward the floor. This is also sometimes called the melting heart pose. So we let our heart melt toward the floor. Let's take about 5 cycles of breath in this position. And if your animal body is not liking this position, feel free to go back to a child's pose. Okay. So elbows either up on the blocks or not. And then take about 5 rounds of breath. And when you feel like you've finished those 5 rounds, or if you need to come out sooner, we'll make our way back to child's pose. Right, so take your time. Take about another moment in child's pose, and we're going to get moving a bit more. So when you're ready, you can take that blanket out of your way so we can do our standing work. And then find your way into a down dog, spreading out again, trying to open up the palms, open up that webbing of the fingers, downward facing dog. Feel free to pedal it out a little bit. And when you're ready, go ahead, walk it forward, top of the mat. Come into your halfway lift. When you're ready, take your time. Halfway lift and then a fold. Let's do 2 more rounds till everyone catches up. Halfway lift and fold. One more time, halfway lift and fold. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. We'll do regular half sun salutations, 3 rounds. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift and fold. Inhale, arms reach. Hands to heart, and 2 more rounds. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift and fold. Inhale, arms reach. Hands to heart, and 1 more time through on your own. All right, pausing in your mountain pose, step your feet apart so they're outer hips distance. We're gonna bring our fingers to the center of your collarbones, so right here in the center of your collarbones. And we're just gonna take a moment and just kind of give it a little massage, kind of pulling the skin down and apart. This is an acupressure point in here that we're stimulating. I'm gonna tell you what this one is. So it's acupressure point 22. And this one is used to help strengthen the lungs. It can help remove phlegm and congestion, chest pain, sore throat, loss of voice, but said to be an important point for the lungs as well. Now we're gonna hold that point, draw it down, like you're trying to pull the skin down, and then lift up through the crown of your head and start to take your head a little back. Take your bottom teeth toward your top teeth. And you might do that little like alternating, pulling the skin down with your hands. Good, and then slowly start to release that. Come all the way up. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, we're gonna stay in the halfway lift now. Keep a little bend in your knees, hands up on your thighs, and then send your booty behind you, lengthening through your tailbone area and the crown of the head forward. Imagine that your upper body is parallel to the floor. See if you can aim for that. And breathe here. Tuck your chin a little, lengthen the back of your neck. We're going to take the right arm out to a T. Spread the webbing of your fingers. And then see if you can lift right behind your shoulder blade without lifting your arm any higher. So use the muscle behind your shoulder blade to hold that arm up. And open wide through the palm. And then release. Other side, left arm out to a T, open wide through the webbing of your palm. And then lift from behind your shoulder blade. Using that rhomboid muscle right there on the behind the shoulder blade. And then release. Fold over your legs. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, hands to heart. Right into our standing cobra. Separate your feet again, outer hips distance. Hands by the chest. Spread the webbing of your fingers out. Hug your elbows down and pull your shoulder heads back. Now remember that little point that we were just massaging. I want you to think about opening that up. As you lift up through the crown of your head, bring your chin up, open up the throat. Hold down isometrically with your hands, root through your legs. One more breath. And then release. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, stay here. Keep those shoulder heads lifting. So the rhomboids are working to lift the shoulders. Right arm out to a T, open the webbing of your palm. Make sure you're lengthening from tailbone to crown, and then other arm out to a T. Use your muscles behind your shoulder blades, lift them without lifting the arms. This upper back strengthening, open your palms and reach toward opposite sides of the room and fold. Halfway lift and fold. Inhale, arms reach. This time, keep the arms overhead, root down through your legs, your tailbone. Reach as high as you can and then go into a little back bend. Open up the front of the chest, the rib cage, the diaphragm. One more breath. And fold. Halfway lift, and we're gonna step back to a plank, top of a push-up. Bring your knees to the floor, hold here. Spread the webbing of your palms out and press down through your palms. Lower halfway down, bending your elbows, and then squeeze your elbows in behind your wrists and lift your shoulders, engage those upper back muscles. Hold for a breath, and then lower down. Keep those fingers spread wide, roll your shoulders back, cobra pose. Keep the shoulders pulling back, and then slowly lift your gaze toward the ceiling. Release, press to all fours. Back to child's pose. Inhale, table, exhale, down dog. And then walk it forward, top of the mat. Halfway lift. And fold. Inhale, arms reach. Hands to the heart and pause. All right, so from here, feet stepped out about outer hips distance again. Right arm up toward the ceiling. Take that hand behind your back and then hold on to your opposite elbow. Inhale, reach both elbows up and both feet and your tailbone down. And then we'll side bend over to the right. I'm sorry, go to your left. Brain's not on yet this morning. Okay, so we're gonna stay here in this position. Keep drawing down through your backside, through your tailbone, because what we don't want, if we arch our back here, it's not gonna feel so good in the lower back. So again, we're listening to that animal body. Go a little bit farther if you like, into that side bend. Hold here another breath and reach through your top elbow. Good, slowly come up. Keep that arm up, other arm out to the side, thumb down, reach it up your back. And then hold here, open the webbing of your palms on your back, reach your top elbow up and your bottom elbow back and down. Hold here. Good, bend the knees a little bit, go into a bit of a back bend by drawing both elbows back, a slight arch of your back, and then hinge forward, come into that halfway lift position. Bend the knees, and then lift both elbows, lift through the back of your head, and lengthen from tailbone to crown. Bend the knees, push all the way up. And release your arms. Take a breath. Maybe roll the shoulders out. Good. Okay, other side, reach the arm up. Take it behind your back. We're gonna hold on to that elbow. Root your feet down, reach your elbows up, and side bend. Hold it here, and we're reaching through that top elbow. Take a few more breaths. Remember to lengthen through your back side so we don't arch the lower back here. And slowly come up. Keep that top arm where it is. The other arm's gonna come up your back and you're gonna spread wide through the webbing of your fingers. Reach the top elbow up, bottom shoulder and elbow back. And then bend the knees a little bit. Find that slight back bend. Start to hinge forward. We're just going to that halfway shape. Stay there. And lift both elbows, lift through the back of your head, and lengthen from tailbone to crown. Push into the feet, slowly come up. Release your arms, roll it out. Very good. Okay, top of the mat, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. You can do hands to blocks or the floor. Step your right foot to the back of your mat. Drop down onto your back knee. Pat it if you like with your blanket. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Stay here for a moment. Come into your breath. Slow, continuous, deep breath. Now make sure that back outer hip is firming. We want to use that hip there to help stabilize the pelvis. And then from here, we're going to take the arms back up. And then we're going to take that right hand behind your back. Hold on to your elbow with your left hand. Reach both elbows up. Now really root into the ground with your feet. Firm that right outer hip. And we're going to side bend toward your front leg, toward the left. So just like we did standing, but a little more challenging here now that we're in this asymmetrical position. Hold it here. Reach through that top elbow. Firm the back hip. One more breath. Slowly come back up to center. Keep that top arm where it is. Bring the bottom hand around your back. Open up the webbing of your fingers. Stay here or deepen into your lunge. Stay here or start to lean back a little bit. Support your head with your upper forearm. Then slowly come back up, release your arms up, hands come down. And you might lower your blocks. We're going to take the left arm up into a twist and lift the back knee. Stay here and open wide through your arms. Open the webbing of that top hand, spread your fingers. And then release, hand comes down, and we're going to step forward and fold. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart, pause, breathe, feel. So when our toe is weak, we're not only susceptible to those outside influences of things like illness, bacteria, pathogens, but also to the impressions of other people, right? So rather than kind of thinking about our own thoughts, what we need, we're sort of focused on the influences around us. So strengthening the toe with our working with these lines in the arms, our breath, inhabiting the body, we get stronger in what we need. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back. Left knee down. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart, pause. And get your stability, root into the ground. Inhabit this moment with your body. Get grounded, firm the outer back hip. Press your palms together, lift your chest. All right, next inhale, arms reach, and we're gonna take that left arm behind your back. Hold on to the elbow. Reach both elbows up. And then if you're stable, we're gonna go into that side bend. If you feel a little wobbly, you might wanna stay right here. Firm that back outer hip and then side bend to the right. And reach to that top elbow. The more you firm that back hip, that's gonna help you stabilize as well as rooting into the front foot. Good, slowly come back up through center. Other arm's gonna come up your back. Open the webbing of your fingers, your palms. You can stay here or deepen into the lunge. Stay here or lean back. Open the throat a little bit. Lengthen your lower back. Good, slowly release. Reach your arms up. Hands come down to your blocks or the floor. Lift your back knee. And then right arm up into a twist. Open the webbing of that top palm. Try to touch the ceiling and open wide from arm to arm, creating a big wingspan. Good, release that hand down. Step forward. Fold over your legs. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, hands to heart, pause. And release, and we're gonna grab our strap. Okay, so now deepening that work we did with that fold, the same arm position we're working with. It's called the Gomukhasana arms in the Sanskrit language. So we're gonna take our right arm up, drop the strap behind your back. Use your other hand to draw that arm toward the center. Reach both elbows up, both feet and tailbone down. Try not to flare your ribs or your pelvis forward. And then other arm's gonna come down, thumb down, reach up your back, and now you're gonna hold your strap. So now we won't be able to open that webbing anymore, but we're gonna gently pull on the strap. Keep the crown of the head reaching up and the back of your head connected to your forearm. So imagine those two are glued together. Make sure feet are a little wider than hips distance so you have stability. Keep pulling on the strap, bend the knees a little bit. Find that little bit of a back bend so that as we come forward, we're not gonna round the back too much. Head stays glued to that top arm. Come into the halfway up shape. Parallel to the floor. Lift both elbows, extend from tailbone to crown. Stay there or stay upright, or fold over your legs. Go slowly, listen to your body's needs. And then if you're in that fold, take both elbows, draw them back, and extend through the crown of your head. Pull gently on your strap. Can you still breathe in this position? If not, I encourage you to back out. One more breath. And then do bend the knees. Head stays connected to that forearm. Start to come up. Pull on the bottom strap to come up. And then release your arms. And just take a pause. Let the animal body feel that release. shake it out, roll it out. Okay, other side. Strap comes up, behind the back of the head. Hold the elbow. We're going to bring that elbow in, reach both elbows toward the ceiling, and then the feet and the tailbone down toward the floor. Lift through your rib cage. And then opposite arm comes down, holds the other end of the strap. Stay here for a moment and find your length from your feet to the crown and gently pull on the strap. Top elbows up, bottom elbow back and down, and then glue the head to your forearm as best you can. Bend the knees, find that little bit of a back arch, hinge forward. Keeping the head glued to that top arm, go into halfway, and you might stay there. You might even stay vertical. Lift both elbows using those shoulders and perhaps come all the way down. If that's too much in your body, then don't do it. Don't let the mind override the ego override the animal body. It's that poem by Mary Oliver, let the soft animal of the body love what it loves. Last breath. And then push into the feet, bend the knees, head stays glued to that forearm as you come up. And then slowly release. Let the strap go. Roll it out, shake it out. And then inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step back, down dog. Knees to the floor, child's pose. Take one more breath where you are. We're going to come on up into a seated position. And cross legs optional if you can. You can sit cross-legged. You can sit up on a blanket or block. We're going to use our fists and bring the fists together behind your back. And then use your fists to draw your lower back down. And then draw both elbows back, open a wide through the front of the chest, the collarbones. Stay here, take a breath or two. All right, go ahead and release, shake it out a little bit. So we're going to be going through a progression. Some of you have done this with me before where we eventually turn our palms up, but it can be challenging on the wrists. So we start with the fists. The next thing we're going to do is turn our fingertips down and just bring our fingertips together. So fingertips down toward the floor, fingertips together, and then walk them up your back any amount. Press your finger pads together. You don't have to have your whole hand together at this point. Walk your thumbs up and then shoulders and elbows back. And use your hands to keep length through your lower back as you lift through your chest to the crown of your head. And then any amount more, open the front of the shoulders. Breathe in, breathe out. Opening up the front of the collarbones, important area for the lungs. Good, and release. Shake it out. Okay, next phase, the fingertips are going to point up, but you might still kind of have this like open position. Eventually they come together, but don't force that. Remember, listen to the animal body. So we're going to bring hands behind you, fingertips point up. So the pinky fingers are sliding up your back any amount. Now you might just have fingertips touching. Eventually you might bring things a little closer together. Draw your lower back down, lift up through your chest, through the crown of your head, and then any amount, draw the elbows back, shoulders back. This one's a little challenging. If you need to, go back to fingers down. Don't hurt the wrists, okay? One more breath, and the lower the hands are, the gentler it is versus working them up. Good, and then release. Right, roll it out, shake it out. Let's do some wrist circles just to release that. Go both ways. And then down and up and open the webbing. Down and up, open the webbing. One more time. Keep the webbing open, side to side. Good, and then pull back on one hand. And then down. Push forward a bit. Other side. Pull back. And then down. Very good. Release, couple big arm circles. Release all of that. And then we're going to make our way onto your back. So come on down. Nothing under your head right now. We're going to have feet flat. And we're going to do a couple rounds of bridge pose. So feet flat, about hips distance apart. First, we're going to hold the edges of our mat with your hands. So take hold of your mat. And then tuck your shoulder blades in and lift your chest a bit. Make sure feet are relatively parallel and walk your tailbone a little forward toward your feet and then lift up. And as you lift up, think about your tailbone reaching for the ceiling. Push into the feet and then roll your knuckles under your mat and roll your shoulders open, tuck your shoulder blades in and lift up. Lift the tailbone, lift the chest. Maybe pull on your mat a little bit. One more breath. And then slowly release. Come down, take a pause. Now you could repeat that with the mat if you want, or we're going to work toward clasping the hands underneath your back. So when you're ready, we're going to let's start with robot arms for this one. So fingertips point up toward the ceiling. Tuck your elbows in, tuck your shoulders under, lift your chest. And then press in your feet, lift up from your tailbone area. So you should not feel compression in your lower back if you're lengthening tailbone. And then walk the shoulders under again, lifting the chest. And then see if you could interlace your hands behind your back and tuck those shoulders under even more. Lift up from the tailbone, pressing down through the feet. One more breath. And then slowly release, come down. Take a pause. We're going to do one more round. If you are ready for a rest, you can slide a block under your hips for supported bridge. Or one more round, either holding your mat or clasping your hands, up to you. You're going to go all the way up. You might start in robot unless you're holding your mat. Again, you might just do supported if you want a little bit of a break. Listen to your animal body. Go ahead and come up as you're ready. Really dig down through the heels. Walk your shoulder blades under. Maybe clasp your hands. And really work those shoulders under. We open up those lung points in the front. Press the arms and the feet down. Lift your hips. One more breath. And then slowly release. Come all the way back down. Undo the shoulders. Pause for breath. And then feet as wide apart as your mat. Windshield wipers right to left. And come back to the center. Bring your hands to your inner collarbone and drop directly down under that inner collarbone. This is actually a kidney acupressure point, but also benefits the lungs. We're just going to massage this area right here under the collarbone. Okay, now take your right hand to the left collarbone. Turn your head to the right. And then slide your hand from the inner collarbone to the outer collarbone, grounding your shoulder a bit. And then repeat that. Slide from inner collarbone to outer collarbone as you press your head gently toward the floor. And we're going to do that 3 more times. Bless you. Now, as you slide your hand, turn your head away and gently press your head into the floor. And we get a nice little myofascial release here through the chest, the neck, and then also maybe that little acupressure point that was between the collarbones. We're opening it up. Good, and then release that, and we'll do your other side in a moment. Just take a breath, feel that one side. Okay, left hand to the right inner collarbone. Right arm can be relaxed. You're gonna slide from the inner collarbone to the outer, turn your head, press your head gently into the floor, and then we'll repeat that. So we're gonna do a total of 5, that was 1. Slide, press. Like you're gonna try and slide the skin from the inner collarbone to the outer collarbone. And at the end of the collarbone is the first acupressure point for the lungs, lung 1. And after you finish 5 rounds, come back to the center. And let's give the knees a hug into the chest. Give them a good squeeze and then rock right to left, right to left. Now keep those knees squeezing in all the way toward your chest so that as you rock, you're hitting more like up toward your upper rib cage or almost toward your shoulder blades. And then gradually let those knees move away. So your arms straighten and your hands are on your kneecaps. Now you're rocking more on your lower back. Start to gradually pull the knees back into the chest as you rock. And now we get a little more into the kidney area under the ribs. And then let's do that one more time. Let the knees move slightly away, rocking right to left, arms straighten. And then start to pull them in. Good, and then just hug knees, come back to stillness. And come into happy baby if you like a happy baby. Always just stay with a knee hug if you want. Open through the webbing of your toes, open the feet, lengthen the back of your neck. And then if you want, you could rock or you could be still. And then once again, hug back in. And if you're ready to, you can come right to Shavasana. If you need anything else before Shavasana, feel free to take it. Feel free to cover up. I feel like it never warmed up in here. They had it 70, so I thought we'd be okay, but now I feel like it's cold. So good to have layers as we get into this time of year, because you never know what you're going to feel like. Feel free to bring an extra blanket to cover with if you tend toward getting cold in your Shavasana. If anybody needs one, I have an extra blanket or two. If you want to borrow one for today, cover up, just let me know. And bring the animal body into rest, into stillness. As you settle in, come back to your slow, soft breath. Almost a sense that you are being breathed. The body dropping into stillness. So it's said in Chinese medicine that the color of the lungs in the Po is white. So as you inhale, I want you to imagine you're filling your lungs with pure, white, clear energy. And exhale, release anything you wish to release. Fill up with that pure white, pure and clear, and then empty. As if the Po could cleanse any feeling or emotion you wish to release from the animal body. Today we spent this time feeling, breathing, inhabiting the body. What does it mean to you to feel deeply and then release? To feel whatever it is you need to release and seep out of your bones. In the way we release also the tears of our ancestors, our collective humanity, our collective earth. Cleanse our bodies, particularly as we go through this autumn season of releasing. Just like nature, it needs to bear all, become vulnerable in order to make space for newness. This process of slowing down, letting go, and we prepare for the next phase of our cycle. And in this way, as we go through these 5 elements throughout our year, it's this symbolic, and literal journey that we go on, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, in an annual cycle, as well as the cycle of our entire life. Po gives us the ability to experience life through the body and appreciate beauty, to feel deeply, live in the present moment. When it's out of balance, we may feel disconnected, stuck in our grief, trouble letting go. So today's reading is by Susan Freibort. And she says, our sadness is pure and necessary to being human. Intense sorrow over long periods of time, however, can cause us to feel separated from life. And we begin to feel somewhat removed from vitality and need tactile associations to remind us that we are still an essential part of everything yet living. Looking is one thing, and just as we must feel and not think our way through sorrow, sometimes we must begin to feel our way back, to touch the season where you are, to lean into the breeze, make bodily contact with the breath of your sensuous surroundings. Feel the mist and the rain wet your skin and mingle with your tears. Caress the supple petals of a summer flower. Run your fingers through the sand and brush your feet against the lush, dense grass. Urge with the cold wind as it sweeps across your face and meet the softly falling snow. Feel where you are in your melancholy, within the season it resides in this moment. And then also meld with the continuity of nature and all things breathing and thriving, and here to always remind you, you are alive, you are connected. Pause and reflect on your own life and linger inside its significance. Your feelings are precious. What you grieve is precious. And you are precious. Next few moments, when I come back, inhabit the animal body once again, corporeal soul. Notice how it feels to have cared for it over the last hour, all the movement, the breath, the feeling. Invite in small movements. Take your time to eventually pause on your side before coming up and find a seated position in your own time. A couple more slow, soft, tender breaths. That white healing energy into the lungs. Intentionally filling up into those back lungs, those deep tendrils down low in the soil of the lungs. Bring palms together. Take an inhale, exhale, bow to your heart. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend. Thank you.